What is power scaling? It's a question that is often asked by those unfamiliar with the concept, but truthfully, it's something you already do on a daily basis and you just don't know it. How, you may ask? Well, let's talk about it. Now, I'm sure everyone who is watching this video, I can almost guarantee, has once asked the question of who would win. And who can blame you? It has been a topic of conversation ever since the dawn of humankind. Whether you're a lover of sports, video games, action movies, or even if you're the typical person that loves to measure themselves up against others, you're probably subconsciously thinking about the most likely outcome between you and someone else duking it out, which is just basic human instinct. And that's essentially what power scaling is in a nutshell, since what you're doing is making a predictive model of a possible future between a contest of two opposing forces. And just like any other means of making a scientific hypothesis, we do this by utilizing all the present and available information about them in order to come to a more precise conclusion. Or, more specifically, in regards to fictional power scaling, we observe the many different feats and statements made about the two within a story to help you better predict an outcome. But what are feats and statements? Well, feats are more so the specific accomplishments made and or shown by the character, while statements are simply written or stated declarations about them. For example, a feat would be seeing a character lift 100 pounds, while a statement would be saying he's the strongest guy in the gym. Now, sometimes feats and statements could be one and the same, and it really depends on what's being shown or said to better analyze what the truth behind the matter really is. Which brings up the ever most important word in regards to these types of conversations, which is context. As context not only determines what the circumstances were that led to said feat or statement occurring, but it's what provides us with enough information to determine what is most likely the truth behind what's occurring. For those unaware, context is defined as the circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, and in terms of which can be fully understood and assessed. For example, if this one random dude at the gym says he can lift as much as the muscle bro in the corner or run as fast as the track girl on the treadmill, if you don't actually know who he is and what he's capable of, you have no way of verifying this declaration of strength and speed without having him demonstrate or prove himself. However, if you were given his background info or the context of who he really is, you would have enough information to determine whether or not he's telling the truth, without having to wait or ask him to prove his strength. And sometimes we have to have these types of discussions whenever there are two popular characters that haven't even fought within their own respective series. And especially when two characters that don't exist in the same series that we would want to know who would more likely win if they were to fight, since an official crossover where both series merge the canon is unlikely to happen, if not impossible. These types of discussions are called inverse scaling and crossverse scaling, with one more delving into the rules and scaling between characters inside their own series, while the other delves more into the exact quantifications and measurements of a character's abilities and strengths in order to better compare them outside their own series. Now, there's a lot of nuance when discussing the differences between these two types of scaling, which you can find out in my first original video, What is Power Scaling?, or wait for a future video if you're interested. And before we end this quick video, I figured it'd be best to address the power scaling sucks crowd for a second, or as we have dubbed them, as the anti-power scalers. Now, whether or not you like to engage within power scaling discussions is up to you. And honestly, you're not at all required to be from the community to power scale or be a power scaler. Especially since I said at the start of the video, power scaling isn't only limited to fiction. It is not a concept you can simply pretend it doesn't exist just because you want to disassociate from it. And yes, the term itself, power scaling, is most often associated with scaling fictional characters, but the idea of asking the question who would win is what it stems from. If you ever talk about stuff like that, you're actively engaging with it whether you want to admit it or not. It's like saying you don't think math exists or hate math, but then are asked a simple math problem and you answer, you just use math. And look, I get it. The community isn't the best and it gets incredibly toxic at times. But what community doesn't when it comes to standing for your home team or whoever you favor the most? This type of behavior isn't only exclusive to just the versus battle or power scaling communities. And I think it's unfair to categorize everyone who power scales under this same lens. And it's even worse to blame them for your inability to have your own opinions about the series and a power scaling aspect. Yes, there are some people that take this too seriously, and yes, there are some who take it too far. No one denies that. But you're not better than everyone because you don't engage in a children's playground conversation. Just because you don't play with kids' toys anymore doesn't make you any more or less mature than everyone else. It's how you engage and present yourself within these conversations that determine your maturity. In conclusion, power scaling is us trying our best to use the information available to us to make a possible future prediction or predictive model to answer the question, who would win? And that's pretty much the general gist of it, of what power scaling is. And if you wish to see more short videos like this one, make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down below what kind of videos you want to see next. But until then, thank you all for watching, and class is dismissed.